from Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked For It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that goes anywhere in the world just because you asked for it. Tonight from Brazil, Samba in the streets. Rich Little baked in a cake. A human rubber band, and much, much more. But first, we've all seen trained animals, but how many of us have ever really seen a trained flea? I mean, you could have trained fleas around every day and not know it. But a real flea circus actually exists, and it's very rare indeed. To watch these tiny performers work under the little top, we sent our Janet Langhart to Germany. Laura Ireland of Whitewater, California, you asked for it.
This is the Hans Mattes Flea Circus from Nuremberg, Germany, the smallest show on earth. And we've been invited under the big top for a special You Asked For It performance. The Flea Circus has been in the Mattes family for about 150 years, and Hans may be the last in line to continue this tradition. He only performs once a year at the famed Oktoberfest, and he can't find a successor who has the patience to work with these tiny stars. At the beginning of each performance, Mrs. Mattes shows the fleas to the audience through a magnifying glass. It may seem impossible for such a tiny insect to move large objects, but the fact is, fleas can pull up to 200,000 times their own body weight. When you consider the merry-go-round weighs about 39 grams or about 1.3 ounces, that's a lot of work for such a tiny creature. A flea can't be trained until it's at least 6 months old, and then training takes up to 8 to 12 weeks. Since fleas only have a lifespan of about 1 year, Hans is already looking for new stars. One of the most bothersome problems Hans has to face with his performers is lunch. He has to supply food from his body in the form of blood. And he's the only one who can do it because his body has built up a natural immunity to the bites. As a treat, the fleas get fed after 3 hours of performing. Hans gets bitten an average of 100 times a day. The performers are fed, the equipment is ready, so let's get on with the show. The fleas are fastened to the object which they move or carry all their lives. The thin wires attached to the fleas are gold-plated and made by a goldsmith especially for the Matteses. When a flea plays soccer, he's in fact trying to jump, but he's held captive by his gold collar and instead propels the styrofoam ball into the net.
1, 2, 3.
The chariots are flanked by these very special umbrella dancers. Well, folks, that's our show for today. I'm Janet Langhart in Munich, Germany, and I'm here because you asked for it.
That gentleman who gave blood to his fleas. I wonder if he would ever mind bringing his show to my castle in Transylvania. I'm so hungry.
If they knew I was coming, they'd have baked a cake. Well, I'm not going to sing it. Why don't you see this story right after this?
And now back to Rich Little.
These days, when Mom bakes a cake, she opens a box and does it the easy way. It's hardly ever a work of art anymore. But in Kent, Washington, a cake sculptor is about to start on his greatest masterpiece. Just as Michelangelo had his David, so Roland Windblecker has his Rich Little. Rich Little? Good heavens, that's me! I mean, I see that face in the mirror every morning. Well, anyway, we're now going to see my image turn into a cake. To watch me being baked, we went to Kent, Washington, because Rosemary Rogers of East Canton, Ohio, you asked for it.
Rich, you are about to join a gallery of other distinguished subjects, such as Colonel Sanders, King Tut, Fred Flintstone, and Leif Erikson, whom he has immortalized in cake. Roland is a serious artist. His giant buttercream and sponge cake creations require a knowledge of carpentry, engineering, anatomy, color theory, and brush technique, as well as baking. The first step is to build a wood and styrofoam frame based on detailed blueprints and sketches. Originally a furniture builder, Roland began carving his niche in cake decorating when a back injury forced him to change careers. He just wandered into a local bakery and learned his trade as an apprentice. Today, Roland is a recognized world master. Once the form is prepared, it's time for the sheet sponge cake, just like the ones used for weddings and birthdays. It's cut in accordance with the blueprint drawings and held in place with white frosting.
As far as the icing, just a good buttercream icing, and the formula that I use is just a 2-to-1 formula. That's 2 parts sugar to 1 part shortening with flavorings and the required amount of water to get the proper consistency.
The sculpture is built layer upon layer and carefully trimmed to the desired outline. Then comes the most critical part, the buttercream icing. Using standard food dyes, Roland prepares his palette of colors and begins bringing life to his cake form. Different colors are built up and worked to form the face using a palette knife. And then it's time for the magical transformation. Deftly using a brush with hot water, Roland creates the detailed textures in the buttercream. It's a process that takes a day or more, which is one reason these cakes cost several $1,000s. It takes an incredible amount of work for something so temporary. And when all the work is through, the result, a culinary masterpiece. And we watched it happen because, Rosemary Rogers, you asked for it.
As Don Rickles would say, "Hey, Rich, do you know why that fellow baked you into a cake?" Because he thought you were crummy. Is he laughing? Is he coming towards me? I've seen Rich Little stew, but I've never seen Rich Little cake. Animals are always fun to watch, and some of the best animal acts ever seen on film were part of the original You Asked For It. Here tonight and every night is Jack Smith with a classic animal piece from over 30 years ago. Jack, you're on.
Back in 1952, we came across the world's most unique four-legged athlete. It was a female cat named Dagwood. And you're going to find this hard to believe. This cat was a whiz at ping pong, but very temperamental. Now, we had our hidden cameras ready for 3 days, but she just wouldn't cooperate. And then suddenly, in the middle of the night, she went into action. And this is what we saw. For sheer fun and enjoyment, I think Dagwood was rated as our top animal act of the year. And if she hasn't used up all of her 9 lives, Rich, maybe she's still playing ping pong somewhere.
Boy, that cat could sure play ping pong.
Indeed
And you say
it
you
could.
filmed that at night?
Yes, yeah, early in the morning, in fact.
This is when she suddenly came alive.
She just felt like playing ping pong.
Great piece of film. You know, television is always looking for a new twist. We'll be back with the story of a fantastic contortionist in just a moment. Don't go away.
And now back to Rich Little.
When you're feeling all bent and out of shape, consider this man. His amazing talent so intrigued Arthur Pearson, Jr. of Morgantown, North Carolina, that he wrote to ask us to show him to you. Well, Arthur, we're going to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee to meet Rudolph Del Monte, the man with the world's most twisted torso. Tony Thomas will tell us how he does it because you asked for it.
When Rudolph Del Monte's mother told him he was a twisted youth, Rudolph just smiled and thanked her for the compliment, because he's been training to be the world's best contortionist since the age of 4.
My mother's taught me when I was young, about 7 years old. I had gone to school for the first time in my life. I went to class and they sent a letter home saying I had too much energy. And my mother had been in show business most of her life, and the teachers asked, could we give him pills so he would relax more? And she says, don't worry about it, she'll handle it. So she started practicing with me. Everybody, when they're very young, is very loose and limber, with loose tendons and ligaments. My body, my bones have nothing to do with it. It's my tendons and muscles and ligaments that have been stretched out.
Rudolph's act is being performed today especially for You Asked For It, and it's like a contortionist ballet. Every move and gesture is timed to the second. This is much more dangerous than it looks. That platform is 12 feet high, and Rudolph is balanced very precariously. Well, if you thought that was difficult, try sinking your teeth into this one. Or better yet, let Rudolph do it. Watch closely now, because you're going to see something that will make you grab your molars. As impossible as it may seem, Rudolph is going to grab the cane with his teeth, hoist his body into the air, and actually balance himself in the air with his mouth. Can you believe what you're seeing? What a way to end a show, by the skin of your teeth. Thank you, Rudolph Del Monte, the world's most twisted torso. And thank you, Arthur Pearson, because you asked for it.
And to think that Rudolph's manager once told him to straighten up his act. My name is Sergeant Joe Friday. I'm sending out a dragnet bulletin for unusual people to be on this show. People with dangerous jobs who do daring feats, lead exciting and courageous lives. No, don't call the police headquarters. Send a letter to You Asked For It, P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. What would you say was the dancingest city in the world? Well, if you said Rio de Janeiro at carnival time, you'd be right. The city closes down and they throw the world's biggest block party. And the dance that keeps them moving like whirling dervishes is called the Samba. To see how they kick up their heels in Brazil, we sent our Georgetta Ruba to Rio because Jamie Hanna of Los Angeles, California, you asked for it.
This is Rio's Carnival, Rich, the most spectacular party in the world. 5 million people attend it, and it lasts 4 days. The force that drives Carnival with wave upon wave of energy is the Samba, the street Samba as danced by the Samba schools in Rio. This is one of Rio's most famous Samba schools, and we're going to meet some of the people that spend nearly all year getting ready for Carnival. If you're not a Brazilian, it's hard to understand the magic of Samba. In Rio, a child learns how to do this dance not long after she learns how to walk. And at Mangueira, everyone is allowed to get into the act. These youngsters are working to live up to a tradition of being among the best and most beautiful dancers in all of Carnival. The boys at Mangueira are practicing the drum routines they'll use when they march down Rio's avenues in the Carnival's main parade. An adult keeps everything going smoothly, giving instructions to the boys by blowing a whistle. That's the only thing they could possibly hear over the noise. The people in the Samba schools are preparing for Carnival all year round. A new theme is chosen by every school each year, which means new dances must be prepared as well as new costumes. The costumes are called fantasias by the Brazilians, and they seem to get more elaborate every year. It takes months of preparations to get them ready, and some of the fantasias cost up to $1,500. All the energy here is directed toward Carnival time. But even the most ordinary afternoon practice is an exciting, exhilarating event. Maybe you do have to be Brazilian to do the Samba. You certainly have to be Brazilian to keep it up as long as they do. It's a piece of the Carnival you can find inside the Samba schools all year long. And you've been there because you asked for it.
You know, the last time I danced the Samba in Rio, I was so hot my pants caught fire. 3rd degree George Burns.
And now back to Rich Little.
We'll see you next time on... Good night, everybody.